Hey everybody, so it is now officially coming to the end of Secureworld after 2 days and one giant blizzard. I think we pulled through it pretty well. As we were wrapping up the day, I was thinking about, what happens after the conference? When we're done here, how do you or anybody else stay abreast of what's going on in the industry? And as I was walking towards a section of the audience that I actually hadn't spent a whole lot of time in, I noticed the SIM booth. SIM is a professional organization. I'm going to let Dan mention that to you in a moment here. It's a group that I've actually presented to a few times. Dan, tell us about SIM.
Yeah, absolutely. So Todd, thanks for having us over to your booth today. So SIM is a community of IT leaders. And essentially our tagline is, SIM is where IT leaders connect. The organization's 50 years old. It's national. We have just over 5,000 members, which is great. But here in Boston, we actually have the largest chapter of about 447 members.
Yeah.
I coach our membership, so I should know these numbers, right? But essentially what happens is we have launched this Tech Leadership Series, which is 5 big meetings every year, a couple social events mixed in between, but it brings people together on a large scale so that they can actually come connect, share best practices, and share great ideas.
That's fantastic, yeah. And I'm trying to be respectful of both. So for everyone, if you haven't picked up on it, we both have colds on this trip. So it's a winter in New England that happens. I'm trying not to destroy his voice.
Right?
Winteritis, big time. So those of you that are in Massachusetts that are watching this video, if you're not a member of SIM today, you're going to absolutely want to get there. If they wanted to become a member of SIM, what website would they go to do that?
Sure, so they go to simboston.org, and
you should be seeing that on your screen right about now, simboston.org. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, he did mention it's a national organization. Rhode Island's SIM organization is just getting started. So if you're not in SIM and you're not in Massachusetts, and you are in Rhode Island, you can look up the Rhode Island chapter of SIM as well. So one of the things I know about SIM, and that I love about SIM, by the way, is that SIM is not an organization full of people that were hired by SIM to train for SIM. It is industry professionals, peers. Almost everybody volunteers. Almost everybody is in some different area of IT. Tell me your story. Where are you from?
Yeah, so I'm one of many volunteers. We have about 40 or so volunteers that are actually on the board running the organization.
Wow. Yeah.
It takes an army, right? But my day job is actually very exciting. I work for a company called People Productive. We're a culture software startup, and we're all about helping organizations strengthen their cultural fitness to achieve specific business outcomes. Getting into the habit of strengthening your culture and focusing on professional growth and personal growth as well.
That's fantastic. Yeah, it's funny because I very much come from the human side of IT. And some of my favorite presentations, some of my favorite folks that I've met this week, all have their products and business lines on the human side of cybersecurity. At Envision, we've been best places to work 9 years in a row. Culture is critically important to us. How do you guys go about, how do you do that? How do you think about measuring and managing culture in an organization?
Sure, so what we do is we look at what outcomes organizations want to achieve, right? So for example, an IT organization, time to value or getting projects done on time. Well, every conference I've been to, probably including this one, everyone talks about, or someone talks about people, process, and technology.
Right.
Unfortunately, the people part of that equation is always left out.
Yeah.
And so we identify the root causes of behavior that drive productivity. And so we'll figure out what outcome you need to work on. We'll talk to you about that. And then we have targeted workouts that are weekly workouts. We'll ask questions to your team, 5 to 7 questions. It takes a minute. And then the following week, we'll do a 15-minute workout to actually get into the guts of what it means to be responsible and how you support responsibility through accountability, integrity, or even candor.
Yeah, so that's fantastic. So, I'll convey to you something that he and I were talking about earlier, just so I can save your voice a little bit.
Sure, thanks.
I had made a comment and I said, talk to me about cultural engagement and where you fit in the marketplace. And one of the things Dan said to me that I think was really important is Dan said, look, everybody else in the marketplace is focused on employee engagement. And if you've ever attended an HR event like the HR equivalent of Secureworld, you'll hear that as kind of an overriding theme. But the problem with just looking at employee engagement is that it's very much a point-in-time measurement, right? It's like having a gas gauge on your car. You know, it'll tell you when you're out of gas, but that doesn't put new gas in your tank. What these guys are doing is really particularly interesting to me because they're not just measuring engagement, but they're looking at the results of that measurement and then helping a company like mine to say, okay, you know, what do we do about this? How do we change the culture? And that's really powerful. So, you know, I appreciate you taking a minute to tell me about that. But guys, this is what I'm talking about with regard to SIM. Is, you know, you think about, great, this has been a wonderful cybersecurity event. When you leave here, how do you continue to move your organization forward? You need to find organizations like SIM where you'll be connected to guys like Dan that had come from a completely different area of technology than I do or than anyone else at this conference would. I just think the value can't be overstated. So anyway, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time, especially when you're not feeling well.
For SIM, I always have energy. So we look forward to all of you joining, and we would love to have your passion as part of our community.
Fantastic. Thanks so much.